So we're going to talk about rotations. We've already done translations where we move something left or right, up and down. We're just translating, move the image. The size stays the same. The shape stays the same. The orientation stays the same. Yesterday we did reflections. That's where we reflected either across the y-axis or across the x-axis. So either left to right or x-axis up to down. In that one, the size stayed the same and the shape stayed the same, but what about the orientation of the figure?
It rotated.
It changed in the opposite direction, right? Today we're going to look at rotations and rotating a point around a point of rotation. So let's look at the example we've got here. You'll see right here I've got a rotation. Which one of these is the image and which is the pre-image?
The image is
Is the one pointing down.
The pre-image. The pre-image is the one without notation at the top. So how did it get from here to here?
rotation.
It rotated how many degrees?
2.
How many degrees are in a circle? How many degrees are in a circle? 360. So we rotated from the y-axis. We went 90 degrees clockwise. Clockwise means to the right.
To the left, I mean right.
Clockwise equals right.
Oh, we're recording.
I'm gonna watch this.
All right. If we go on continuing from this point right here, how many degrees have I gone to go down here? Kaylin, focus. If I go from here to here, how many degrees have I gone going from here all the way around to here?
180.
180. Now, here's my question. Does it matter if I put clockwise or counterclockwise? No, because either way it's 180. If I go from here all the way around to this point, how many degrees have I gone?
9. No.
It's 90, 180. What's another? 200 and
10.
270
What?
clockwise.
That sounded like a girl.
Omar.
You can do it, make your voice too.
If I continue back to the origin,
360.
I went 360 degrees. So this is either 0 or 360 degrees. Now, let's say I want to go counterclockwise.
Yeah, you go to the left.
It's not that much different.
It is in how I place it.
Because wouldn't it be
Counterclockwise, I go left.
What? It's still the same numbers, just in different spots.
Well, yeah, when I go this way,
That's 90. Oh, wait.
this becomes 90 degrees
Then 180.
counterclockwise. Then 180 stays the same, whether it's counterclockwise or clockwise. How about way over here if I'm going counterclockwise? How far have I gone?
270.
270 degrees.
So 360 and 180 stay the same?
Yep. Counterclockwise.
We have to label all this in the...
I hope so.
No, not right now in the lesson.
No, we'll talk about how to do it. So, really, I just gave you the notes in kind of a sheet when you get them. You're going to get questions, and they're going to say rotate an image 8 or 90 degrees clockwise. So you're going to say, hey, that's to the right. Boom. They might say rotate 270 degrees counterclockwise. Well, that's all the way around. It's the same thing as 90 degrees clockwise, right? If they give you a problem, they don't give you a direction, clockwise or counterclockwise, it means you go clockwise. So if they just say rotate the figure 180 degrees, you just go clockwise. Rotate the figure 90 degrees, you just go clockwise 90 degrees. Okay?
Did you have Buffalo Wild Wings for lunch?
Every
I saw it in the trash.
Every Tuesday.
Every Wednesday.
I thought it was Tuesday.
So remember, look at the size of these two shapes. Are the shapes the same size?
Yes.
Are they the same shape?
Yes.
The only thing that's changed is the orientation, right? Where they're pointing.
Yes.
let's.
Well, no, technically not, because they're both pointing towards.
Well, this one, if you kind of use the arrows, this one could be pointing down, whereas this one's pointing left. Now, this is where patty paper is actually the easiest. Tomorrow we're going to do algebraic equations for doing these.
Algebra, yeah.
So we're going to show how to do these using algebra. Today, I'm going to tell you the easiest way to rotate is your patty paper. So let's read the question. We are going to highlight a portion. So it said control.
Are we going to have patty paper and then start paper?
She just
I'll have it here.
Okay.
sit down.
So it says, number 2 says, graph the image of quadrilateral Pqrs after a 180-degree rotation. So we're doing a 180-degree rotation.
Yeah, which way?
Does it matter on a 180 which way to go?
Yes.
No.
No, it doesn't.
But when in doubt, if there's no listing, go clockwise.
When in doubt, you go like.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to lay out our patty paper. The first part is draw the grid well.
How do you
Wait, I have a question.
I need a new one.
Mr. Wheeler, what side are you supposed to do this on?
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean? It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, they feel different.
They do feel, but it doesn't matter. One,
Let you write on one side. Or I mean, put a highlighter on one side. The rest
it will.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So, you ready? Now you're gonna. Now make sure you get your grid well. If you need a ruler, they're in the closet.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why do we highlight it?
Why did I highlight 180-degree rotation?
So we know which way we're rotating.
We only do that on a reflection. On a reflection, we highlight it so we can stay on the right axis. Okay? So now, I'm going to pick my 4 points. If you need something, stand up and get it. Yes, don't dig.
Dig, John, dig.
So, I've got my points here. Now, I'm going to tell you, just for the ease of your happiness, label the points on your paper. So, P, Q, R, S. So everyone got your patty paper labeled with your grid lines and your points. Now flip it over. Don't write on your paper as you're doing this because it does leave marks. Put some graphite in the back here.
Yeah, what is graphite?
Graphite is what your pencil's made of. I'm putting it's made of graphite and clay.
Wait, what is on the back after?
On the back, on the dots, I flipped it over but I didn't flip it over on my grid. If you flip it over in your grid, you get stray dots.
Wait, just a question.
Wait, what?
So this isn't lead?
No.
Why do they call it lead?
It's called graphite?
Stay with it.
Are we supposed to
Oh my gosh, I ended it on the
R's
desk.
and the S?
No.
In your hand?
Is it just the dots?
Just the dots.
It's like
Shh. If you're having another conversation, stop.
I'm confused. You're
Okay, talk to me about where you're having problems with.
patty papers.
Okay, I put my patty paper on, I made the grid lines.
But what do you do after that?
When I flipped it upside down, what I did was I put some graphite in the back. That way when I get over here, when I make my marks, it'll transfer through the paper onto the bottom.
But I thought we did that on this side.
You have to do it on both sides.
I did it.
no
Okay,
way.
listen. So, you're right. I did put my dots on this side, right? I flipped it off it over here, and I put some graphite under the dots. And what that does is, when I finally rotate this, it'll make little marks and transfer onto my document. All right. So we've got our marks, right? We're doing a 180-degree rotation. So we're going to rotate 90 degrees. That means we're going to take our grid line and rotate it 90 degrees.
Boom.
We're at 90.
Done.
You go slower,
Okay.
just so I can see.
Okay. We started here. Now we're whoops. then move somewhere you can.
No, it's like bright.
So we started here.
Can we turn off the light?
Sure.
I can't see that glare.
That's what I did. Okay, okay.
I already said sure.
Oh, we gotta rotate at 180 though.
We do. So we rotate. We take it first. We'll rotate it 90 degrees, which means we're now.
At 90.
Then we rotate it once more.
And we're at
That's
180.
that's 270.
That's 180. Then, now that and make sure your grid lines are good. So now we've got it. We're going to mark on our points again, which is going to transfer them. And I already, if you pay attention here, I already wrote my letters, so when I can lift this up and write down Q apostrophe, I've got a P over here, I can write P apostrophe, R apostrophe, and the last one's S apostrophe. I can lift away my patty paper and highlight my dots. Make sure you're putting them on the grid lines.
I hope there's like
Wait, these are all apostrophes?
Because they're the image.
image.
The pre-image has no apostrophes.
Done.
Oh, whoa.
That would be a reflection.
Can we just like poke holes in it?
You can, but it takes a little more time.
Okay, so
That's what I
do we draw the shape thingy? Like,
Yes, fill in your lines.
You gotta connect the dots. So this is what we're doing.
So I made a rotation. I rotated it around. The shape is the same. The size is the same. But the orientation is different by 180 degrees.
Wait, do we have to make it over there too? Or was that where you were just showing us?
That's where I rotated it to.
no. He was darkening his circles.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was talking like
Okay. Shh. Let's go to number 2 here.
90.
Number 2 says, graph the image after a 90-degree counterclockwise. So I'm going to highlight 90 degrees in counterclockwise. Counterclockwise means which way.
The left.
So I'm going to, under a counterclockwise, I'm going to write left. And what that does is kind of puts in my mind that counterclockwise means go left. Control.
When in doubt, go left.
And I'm going to take my patty paper. I'm going to put it on my grid, taking very good time making my grid lines.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to put my 5 dots.
And label.
And I'm going to label them. Very good.
Don't we
Trying to make some grid here. That's only for reflection.
Whoops.
Refraction.
Are we supposed to do the B, C, and D on this?
Yes.
South square. On Europe. What'd you say?
Shh. Omar, do me a favor. Just focus on you. Not everything around the room. And go spit that gum out. The gum you were just chewing. Alright. Now, I'm going to flip this over, not on my graph, because I found out earlier I make a lot of dots on it, and I'm going to put a little graphite on the back of my dots, so I create transfer paper.
Wait, what?
Then I'm going to flip it back over.
Wait, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I just
This is confusing. I'm not understanding.
No, I just flipped it over.
No, I just put them
Okay.
on the dots. It makes a C.
Did you find that on?
Shh.
Yeah.
Now, what part don't you understand? I drew my graph. I highlighted my dots. There's a lot of conversations that need to stop. I drew my grid lines. I highlighted my 5 points and I labeled them. I flipped the paper over off it and I colored the back of my dots so that when I transfer them, I'll get it. I'm going to put it... Do you need to go outside?
No.
Okay, then focus. Now, I'm going to put it back on my grid, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is to left. Go sit down.
When in doubt, go left.
So I'm going to do 90 degrees counterclockwise. Make sure I line up. The great part about 8th grade math is almost every rotation we make is going to be based on a 90 degree rotation, 90, 180, 270. And now that I've got these dots here, I'm going to color them from this side, and since I put some stuff on the back, it'll transfer. And I can, if I keep that patty paper in the same alignment, I can quickly line up those dots with the letters so that I don't poorly label them. So down here in the lower left, I've got A apostrophe. Then going clockwise, I've got B apostrophe, C apostrophe, D apostrophe, and E apostrophe.
How come the ones that we have done are all apostrophes?
Because we make images.
Oh.
They started with an image, and then we made the pre-image.
Carly, I swear on my life.
Carly, you can only be there if you're not going to cause problems.
She's not. She's just.
All right. Was everyone able to make that? Let me go around and look here.
Oh, I did it!
Very nice. Very best.
That's a very terrible.
I think I did it. I think I did it.
Very nice.
Are you ready for the
Because we've already put it down here, right?
Yeah, I know. But those ones aren't straight. That's what I was saying.
Come on. Why you're hiding this one?
Because I didn't do
Do
it.
it.
Yeah, I couldn't. It wouldn't work. I tried. No, I tried. I did.
And I got half the fight.
Remember when counterclockwise?
Well, you can draw the line.
No. It should be done this way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you're eating grapes.
Oh, that went far. I'm sorry.
And you were just like running the whole time. You're on your chair over here, right? You're like laughing.
Have you learned to dance?
What grade is it?
Oh, this looks like a I would say. Did you even watch the dance? The dance?
So we started right here, right? Now, rotating. No. Okay. Any questions on rotations?
Yeah.
Yes?
No, sorry.
Okay.